Hey, welcome to Nakama News. I'm your host Goldie, and this is my co-host Jamie. We're going to bring you the news today. Starting off, multiple reports of children and elderly fighting for the Marines. Are you between the ages of 1 and 99? If so, the military might be for you.
Also, be on the lookout for a giant white haired man. We continue to hear reports of him grabbing and shaking people and sometimes even throwing them violently. Please be safe.
Thank you. This is Nakama News.
Nakama News, you'll see friendship when you view Nakama News. Well, everyone lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome back. Nakama News.
All right, Goldie, we're back. We got chapter 1093, Luffy versus Kizaru.
Yeah, this one was a little all over the place, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun stuff, a lot of cool stuff, not a lot of huge reveals or anything like that, but definitely a good setup chapter, I think.
I think we had some fun fights, which can be fun to talk about. But I agree, there wasn't a whole lot of story movement. But let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, so there was another cover page request, and just like the last few weeks, they're getting very oddly specific, and I'm really kind of dying for a new cover story. So please, Oda, please give us a cover story, preferably Doflamingo getting broken out of Impel Down. That's what I want. But this week's cover request was it was Tarsier Brothers, Steel Kobe, and Helmeppo's glasses.
Yeah, and to the point where I'm just ignoring the cover photos, and I don't like that because I'm going to miss something at some point.
No, yeah, there's gonna end up being something hidden within them, and it's we'll be like, oh, we all missed it. But yeah, this chapter kind of starts off, picks up right where we left off last week, with Luffy being in his giant Gear Fifth form and grabbing Kizaru. Kind of fun.
It's so crazy seeing giant Luffy, and he's just having fun with it. You can tell he still doesn't know. I still don't think he really knows how to use Gear 5, so he's just messing around every time he's in there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of funny how his go-to for every big fight so far with Gear Fifth has been becoming a giant and then grabbing the person. So disrespectful, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, and if he's not grabbing a person, he's grabbing lightning or some other thing he's not supposed to be able to grab.
He's getting a little grabby. Okay, it's gonna get him.
Exactly what you did there.
Yeah. Stop it. But what do you think overall about these Gear Fifth fights? Do you think it takes away the tension a little bit, or is it still fun and exciting and kind of within One Piece what you
I
expect?
think we're still kind of playing around with it. So, I mean, with Kaido, it was still fun and exciting. With this one, it definitely took away the tension because
Yeah,
you immediately felt like, all right, Luffy's going to be stronger than Kizaru in Gear 5, and then Kizaru is still kind of holding his own, and you don't really know what to expect, and Luffy's just kind of playing around. So I think it definitely did decrease the tension, but I also think it was kind of supposed to.
yeah, I think you hit on a good point. It not only decreases the tension a little bit because Luffy's giggling the whole time, it also decreases the tension just because he said this is his peak, and now we know Luffy's at one of his strongest forms that he's probably going to be at for however long. So, um, in some ways, I miss the seriousness of old fights, but then you say that, and also Luffy was doing random stuff like just drinking a bunch of water and becoming a big water balloon guy. Or, his
Luffy
attack.
fights have always been funny, at least until the very end. Like there's always a turning point with Luffy fights, um, but at the beginning they always kind of seem like a joke. Like
Yeah, I
Eneru,
think so.
you can never forget the Eneru face. Like
Oh yeah, I think the one fight that was I might be wrong, but I may just have rose-colored glasses thinking back at it. But the one fight that was really cool all the way through that really wasn't funny was Katakuri versus Luffy.
it was so long.
Yeah, I just felt like that one was pretty cool, but I still think there was some goofy stuff with Katakuri and like his love of donuts and stuff like that. And
His devil fruit alone, which is kind of a little goofy.
that's true. I guess at the end of the day, he was firing mochi, which is a Japanese dessert, at people. So I take it back. Every fight's been a joke. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So Luffy chucks Kizaru after he's done spinning him around, throws him into into the ocean basically, or towards the ocean. And that kind of goes like that. Then Kizaru uses an attack to basically redirect himself before he goes into the water, and then comes back at Luffy with a bunch of light clones. What did you think of the light clones?
I didn't see that coming. That's for sure. I mean, I guess it makes sense if I mean you can reflect any kind of image off a light, right? So I guess it's hard to argue with One Piece logic there. But it was so funny seeing Luffy
Yeah,
just be what in the heck. Luffy
it kind
shock
of
face,
reminded me of the
especially in Gear
shadow.
5, will never get old.
It reminded me of the shadow clones from Ninja or from Naruto. Um,
I don't know if we've ever seen clones in One Piece before.
what we've seen clones. Mister Three had little wax clones, and
Okay,
Doflamingo had a string clone. We've had plenty of clones.
okay. We have had some clones.
Dusty is a clone. Where have you
All
been?
right, take it back. We've had clones.
We've had a lot of clones. This is Clone Piece. But I thought it was interesting that the clones could hurt Luffy, and Luffy just kind of like would phase through them. Granted, Luffy did use some cool new attacks, the Booming Dawn Stamp and the Booming Dawn Whip, and that got rid of the clones, or he defeated them. But he did take damage from them before that, so it makes me wonder if those light gloves that came, were introduced early in the arc that could make light tangibly touchable, if that's a thing.
Oh
I wonder
yeah,
if those are going to come back.
that's a good call out. I forgot about those actually.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's what Oda wants you to do. He wants you to, then he brings it right back.
As long as he waits like a year in between the thing that he wants you to forget, he's usually
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's how he does it. It's just One Piece is so long that it's not that he's writing incredibly well. It's just that you forget because it's so long. But I did like the naming of the new attacks, like Booming Dawn. Like bringing the dawn. I thought that was kind of cool. It wasn't like a typical Gum Gum attack.
I'm curious if it's going to be animated like very differently. I mean, it didn't look much different than like a regular whip, but it just has a cool name now.
Yeah, I know. It's just maybe it's just Gear Fifth naming stuff. But so anyway, Luffy fights those clones. The clones end up not being the real Kizaru, and then Luffy's like, "Yo, where did the real one go? Oh shoot, he's way back there." And Kizaru went into the Labostratum and was looking for Vegapunk, but all he found was Usopp, and he's like holding him up by the shirt. Uh,
I thought Usopp was dead. I was like, oh, this is it. It's over for my boy. We're
we go
done.
from we go from minimal tension to extreme tension right away as he puts a hole in Usopp's chest.
Oh god, it could have happened if he wanted to. He could have killed Usopp right there.
Yeah. And then so Vegapunk's not there because Vegapunk has left with Atlas and well, not Sanji yet, but Vegapunk left with Atlas to go down and save Bonnie and also give new orders to the Pacifista. So, but when Kizaru's in the Labostratum, he sees them leaving and sends an attack at him. And you pointed out a cool thing. How does Luffy save him from this attack?
Oh yeah, he ate the light beam.
He eats it. Yeah, just munches on the attack. That is
And then he
crazy.
turns into the real sun god in the middle of the.
And he's like, it burns. He's like, burns.
So hot. It's just coming
Yeah.
out of his eyes and his nose. And you see in the next panel, he's just glowing above the tank.
Like me whenever I have spicy chili, it's the same thing. It
Brutal.
also hurts out of more orifices than that.
Oh. I think Oda's going to take every opportunity he can to remind us that Luffy is now the sun god.
And also a cartoon. Like, yeah.
True.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. They point out that they need to get the Pacifista new orders because if they don't, they will get absolutely smoked by the Pacifista's laser beams once the dome comes down.
Mm.
So at least it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. And then they take the Vega tank down, which is a pretty cool looking vehicle. And then on the way down, they pick up just Sanji joins them, Frankie joins them.
Yeah. You got Sanji hanging off, and then a couple panels later, you got Frankie hanging off of it. I was surprised that the tank was just like smoothly going with Frankie hanging off of it. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the tank has like cloud wheels. So I think it's probably got a pretty mellow ride, Good shock absorption with those clouds. Um And then you get a small panel of Edison saying that he needs to open and reseal the Frontier Dome to let him pass through safely. So that's just Oda being pretty complete, letting us know like they're not just passing through the dome willy nilly. So it's nice that things are being explained for us. So that's good. Um, and then we're kind of jumping around here, but this chapter was a little weird. Uh,
All the little setups.
they get down to the Fabrio phase, I believe, and Atlas is able to get the order off to the Pacifista to eradicate the Marines. But of course, this chapter ends with a panel of Saturn just staring menacingly. So I feel like it couldn't be any more clear that this plan is not going to work.
Yeah, well, I think that was the panel before that. You heard that like beep, or like it sounded like Saturn was listening into the order, right? I mean, Saturn could hear that being overridden. I was surprised he didn't just jump in right there and be like, actually, no.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long Saturn's going to let them like let this plan go. Because if he doesn't do anything right away, a lot of Marines are going to get smoked. So, but
I really want to see how like if he's got the power to actually turn this thing around. Because if Kizaru, Luffy and Zoro already have their hands full, and suddenly Saturn joins the fight, like
yeah,
it gets interesting real fast.
no, that's when you need someone else to show up. So Dragon or somebody else, or they need to leave the island. I don't think, as is now, I don't think they could fight another top tier guy. Sanji might be able to hold, but I could see Sanji fighting someone like Saturn, and if Saturn's as strong as we think, Sanji might lose, and that could
Yeah.
be tension. So,
Well,
but
I
yeah.
can't imagine Sanji is any better than Sabo, and Sabo got wrecked. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, Sabo, lucky to be alive. What do you say we do some trivia, Goldberg?
yeah. Let's jump into some trivia. This chapter was all over, so I figure trivia has to be all over too.
All right, I have a, a medium level question and probably a impossible level question. So, which one do you want first?
uh, Give me the medium. I need a confidence builder.
Okay. So, so the three admirals pre time skip, we have Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru, right?
Yep.
And those aren't their real names. Their real names are like Sakazuki, Kuzan, and then Borsalini, I think. Uh, but those names that they have, the code names, are from a story that Oda got inspiration from, and they involve three different animals. So Aokiji is the blue pheasant, and Akainu means the red dog. What does Kizaru mean?
Oh man, I
So
mean,
I'll give you half a point if you just tell me the color. There's a
gotta be
color.
yellow.
Yeah, okay. So there, yep, yeah. If you would have said pink, I would have ended this immediately.
The question is what animal? I mean, first thing that I would guess would be yellow cat, but I'm not confident in that.
That's adorable. That is so cute. I love that. That's a good answer. The actual thing is a pheasant.
Is the blue? What was the blue?
Oh no, shoot! It's a monkey.
Yellow monkey. Okay.
Yellow monkey. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Wow. I did not know any of that. I did not know that their names were based on some random story that Oda had inspiration from. I did not know that they meant any of those things.
Well, maybe you're gonna get the impossible question next. So,
All
all right,
right.
you go.
Okay. I guess I have a easier one and a harder one, but it wasn't that level. Can you tell me who the oldest Straw Hat, not counting Brooke, is currently?
Why can't we count Brooke?
Because that one's too obvious.
Um, Frank. Oh, Jimbei.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
You got it.
I think I'm
Jinbei.
guessing it goes. I think Jimbei, then Frankie, then Robin,
Yeah,
then
that actually is right. You got the whole order.
and then I think Zoro maybe, then Nami, and then Luffy and Usopp are the same age. Chopper's the youngest. But yeah, okay.
You had that down. Okay, that was too easy for you. I'll remember that next time.
Uh, yeah, you should have asked this next question because this is probably the meanest question I've ever asked. But I think
You want
it's
me to go two in a row? All right, my next one's a little harder, so I guess we'll just ramp up a little bit. Back in Aeneas Lobby, uh, Fukuro had a special ability to measure power levels, almost Dragon Ball Z style. Can you tell me what Rob Lucci's power level was back in Aeneas Lobby?
Oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna get this. I really don't even. I can't pick
So
900.
for Lucci,
Yep.
no.
Oh,
So Lucci, so we had um, Fukuro, I think, was at like 600. You had the wolf guy, and I don't even remember his name. What was the wolf guy's name?
I don't know.
I
You
don't
thought
remember his name either.
Sanji did his
Um,
Jambe against them.
but they were 11 and 1300 for the stronger ones. Lucci was at 4,000.
Oh, okay. His power level's almost
It's just, for
9,000.
some reason I just randomly thought like it's weird how we got random power levels. Like that arc introduced so much that just like never got brought up again. Between
Yeah.
like between like the Soro moves, like the physical moves that are not technically hockey, and then these power level ratings. it
Yeah.
was
No, that was
it's still one of my favorites, but
Lobby Water 7 was really cool. Pre-time skip, a lot of that stuff was introduced and then forgotten about. So I still miss tone dials and impact dials from Skypiea. I don't know if we'll ever see them again. Okay, let me ask you the impossible question, okay?
all right.
Uh, it's so mean because if you get this, I'm so impressed, but oh my god.
Off the top of
So
my
we
head,
we both
like,
know, maybe if I
let's do
make it
it.
a two-parter. What animal does Lucci have with him all the time?
Parrot.
Yep. Now what is that parrot's name?
Oh no, I didn't even know the parrot had a name.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Sorry, I was crunched for time, so I was like, let me just. This looks like a good question.
Parrot's name. Can you give me a hint?
uh, I can't because it's like a Japanese name.
Oh no.
It's not
Oh,
like
no.
Fred. All right.
Oh, Japanese parrot name. No, I'm taking the L on that one.
I don't even have a guess. It's Hattori. Hattori.
Corey. Oh God.
I feel like yeah. I'll give you a point just because you knew it was a pigeon.
I didn't even got that right. I said parrot.
No, like you're right. It is a parrot. It's a parrot. It's definitely a parrot. No, it is a. It's a.
With a pigeon. You got that right.
uh,
Oda
uh,
would make the bird on a pirate a pigeon instead of a parrot. Oh God.
okay,
Man,
that
I'm
was.
gonna have to go back and watch the Aeneas Lobby arcs, or the Water 7 Aeneas Lobby arcs at this point.
It does come up a lot in our trivia, so let's
Well, we got CP9 in this arc, so I mean, so
let's
many.
just go back to the chapter before we make more fools of ourselves.
All
There's
right,
not,
better trivia next week.
there's not much left, but I did want to touch on some other things.
Yeah.
There was an interesting one panel, blink and you miss it, where Jinbei reports to Vegapunk, "Hey, I'm done loading up all the stuff that you asked for on the Sunny." I think that is 100% setting up a future something. Same way Raizo brought with all that water from Zoe. I think there's going to be something that Oda's going to say Vegapunk put on the ship that's going to come in handy in the future. Okay, the other thing we got to talk about is Zoro versus Lucci.
Yeah.
Yep, that
And
was
wasn't a whole lot except for Lucci actually recognizing Zoro as an Emperor's number 2 now.
yeah. Because earlier in the arc he makes or Lucci says like I don't acknowledge Luffy as a Yonko, but now it seems to acknowledge him as a Yonko and it's
It
like
changed in like 20 chapters. Like what?
yeah, literally 20 chapters and he's like okay, I guess I was wrong.
God, Lucci's been the most inconsistent, just underwhelming, like former big bad. He's like Crocodile. He's the new Crocodile. He's just
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it reminds me of in Naruto with Orochimaru, where like he had his arc and he was really scary and all this stuff, and then he just kind of lingers, and you're like, can we stop with this guy? So
yeah.
I
And
personally,
he's even swapping like between good and bad again. He's like still betraying people, but only halfway, kind of like.
yeah, 100%. So I agree. I'm excited. I think Zoro. I hope Zoro beats him convincingly. And Zoro's got the cool Hellfire swords going on right now, which is a badass attack. So that's gonna be cool when it's animated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I want to know what Zoro's power level is.
Over 10,000.
It's over 9,000. Never a
Uh,
good video without a Dragon Ball Z reference. All right.
the other thing we got to talk about is Bonnie. A lot of Bonnie stuff going on. Once again, this is like 3 chapters in a row. She has been referenced as a little girl again. So at this point, I feel like she's obviously a young girl. She's not a 22-year-old woman. She's like
Yeah,
an
I
8-year-old.
still don't really believe that she's a child, but if you told me she was like 15, I could see it.
Yeah. And we were talking about this a little bit before. To me, it's like I don't get it. I don't know how that matters. It's such an irrelevant like reveal. So when this happens, when we find out, I'm like, what did that change? Oh, cool. She was a kid this whole time.
And if she
Um,
wasn't a kid this whole time, then why, why do that? Why play with us like that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like a lose lose because I don't think I'm gonna be impressed. Also, I'm gonna be a little grossed out because like they sexualized her, and so that's gonna be weird. Or if this is all just hinting and it ends up being nothing, I'll be like, well, what were all those little hints for? That was weird. So I don't criticize a lot, but this whole Bonnie kind of is she a child, is she not? I think is pointless, and I don't think there's a situation. I could be wrong. Oda is very good at writing stories. You might have something cool that makes it relevant, but at least right now, I can't imagine a situation where this is it makes the story better. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Especially since she's still such like a she's very newly relevant. Like it's not like we've been building up to a big Bonnie reveal for a while. She's just like it's like
Yeah.
this chapter where she started becoming someone we care about, or
Yeah.
this arc. I mean, not this chapter, but
And Kuma didn't show up this chapter. Also, well, another thing we didn't see this chapter was the giant robot, but I think we'll talk about that in a second. What we did get was Sentomaru saving
yeah,
Bonnie in a badass way. So
man, he's been the honorable mention of the arc. He's just we got to start handing out awards at the end of.
he's the Pedro. He's the Pedro of this arc. You said it yourself.
He's sacrificing himself, body, mind, and heart and soul, like
Yeah,
saving little girls and
yeah,
buying them time to get off the island. Tomer, he's doing everything.
yeah. He's doing everything. I'm a big Sentomaru fan right now. Hopefully he doesn't die. Hopefully he doesn't.
I know that's the scary part.
What do you think? Next week. I feel like the next, or well, we have a break next week, but I think the next chapter is going to be a really, really good chapter. I think this was a lot of setup, and I think we didn't see the giant robot that was activated at the end of last chapter. So I think that's gonna show up hopefully. Um, I don't know. I think next chapter a lot of stuff's gonna go down, especially with Saturn, giant robot, these
Yeah,
fights.
something's got to happen.
What do you
Either
think?
we might finally get Saturn intervening. We might get Kuma could show up for all we know. We still think that he's just flying over from the red line. Like, um, part of me kind of hopes that Shanks or Blackbeard shows up because that would just be crazy. Like, there's
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
possibilities with this arc, and we're definitely getting to a point where something's going to happen because if Saturn walked in right now on that island and took over the pacifistas, and you got Luffy and Zoro both busy fighting people who are actually like equally strong as them, or at least enough to hold their attention, like they're in trouble. So something's got to happen.
yeah.
I'm
No,
excited.
100%. Something's gonna happen. For all we know, we're gonna go to a different island in the next chapter. But yeah, no, sounds good. Overall, I thought it was a great chapter, man.
It's definitely a fun one. Classic One Piece. Nothing crazy happening, but it's prepping to set up, and it's part of the journey. Gotta love it.
Yep. You gotta appreciate chapters like these to make the other chapters even better. So
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to Nakama News today. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with a new chapter. Until then, you guys have a great day.